We will be discussing Antonio de Morga's Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, and I will be starting off with Morga's demographic background. So, Antonio de Morga Sanchez Caray, his full name, he was born in 29th of November 1559 and died in 21st of July 1636 rather, and he was a Spanish conquistador, a lawyer, and a government official for 43 years in the Philippines. That was between 1594 and 1604. He is also known in New Spain and Peru, and as a deputy governor in the country, he reinstated audiencia, taking over the function of a judge or oidor. He was also in a command of the Spanish ships in 1600 naval battle against Dutch corsairs, but unfortunately he suffered defeat and barely survived. He had captured important failures in both his military and political capacities, but he is now remembered for his work as a historian. So the Spanish colonizers claims that they were solely responsible for redefining the Philippines island. However, Jose Rizal's perspective and belief says otherwise. Why? Because for him, the native population of the Filipinos were self-sustaining and customarily spirited, meaning to say, Filipinos have already formed a civilization of their own even before the Spaniards came. They already have ancient governmental structures, complete with weapons and artillery of defense, culture, traditions, mythology, genealogies, and religion, which were mentioned by early historians. Also, one of many cultural heritage of the Filipinos that can be traced back to the ancient time is the wearing of upper garments. So what is this upper garment? Actually, this is originated from Malay Filipinos, but it was because of the Spanish colonization that the Philippines' rich culture and tradition that I've mentioned faded to a certain extent. Now, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, or also known as Events in the Philippine Islands, was a historical account which described the scenarios in the Philippines from 1493 to 1603 under the colonial rule of Spain. So Dr. Antonio de Morga, as the principal author of the Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, published his work in 1609. So this work perhaps was the best account of Spanish colonialism in the Philippines, and it was merely based partly on documented research, partly on keen observation, and partly on Morga's personal involvement and knowledge. One of the annotation was that Filipinos were unprotected before the coming of the Spaniards. So Morga himself says, further on in telling of the pirate raids from the south, that previous to the Spanish domination, the island has arms and defended themselves, but after the natives were disarmed, the pirates pillaged them with impunity, coming at times when they were unprotected by the government, which was the reason for many of the insurrections. So Morgan's books was praised, quoted, and plagiarized actually by contemporaries or successors. So Filipinos have found it useful account of the state after their native culture upon the coming of the conquistadors. And also Spaniards have regarded it as a work to admire or condemn according to their views and the context of their time. So some of other European found it full of lessons and examples.
For the next one, we have here the first history book of the Philippines, which is also known as Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. This translates to Event of the Philippine Islands. This was published in the year of 1609 by Antonio de Morga. In the year 1890, Rizal annotated the work of Antonio de Morgas, which is the Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, and before doing that, he traveled various countries from the world and became fluent with their languages. His travel made him familiar himself with the history, custom, and way of life and language. He believed that learning the language of people will open the treasures of the country, which is the knowledge and learning, and its way of thinking. He was fascinated by the collage of cultural symbols and became embraced by the people as their own national identity. Rizal was convinced that the enduring and unifying strength of all great societies lies in their collective sense of tradition, a tradition that is carried forth and become the people's cultural history. Rizal intended to provide the Filipino people with their own history, pre-Hispanic history, and present them with their own authentic true culture and identity. He considered it necessary to invoke the testimony of illustrious Spaniard who governed the destinies of the Philippines in the beginning of her new era, and witnessed the last moments of its ancient nationality. Rizal's annotation included clarification and amplification of details, reputation of statements where it is necessary, and confirmation when checked against other resources. It also offered the annotated successes of the Filipinos with the wise counsel that to foretell the destiny of a nation, it is necessary to open the book that tell her past. This is all for the first Philippine history book. Thank you.
I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop. I've been sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. And even though I know I haven't got a lot, I'll try to give you love until the day you drop.
We already in the third part and it's all about Rizal's annotation to inspire young Filipinos today. you can check the whole annotations of Rizal in our course packet. So before Rizal finished the story of Noli Me Tangere and create El Filibusterismo, he first come up to an idea to find evidences about the Philippine history before the Spaniards came. He stated that I started to sketch the present state of our native land, but the effect which my effort produced made me realize that before attempting to unroll before your eyes the other pictures which were to follow, it was necessary first to pose you on the past. So only you can fairly judge the present and estimate how much progress has been made during the 3 centuries of Spanish ruling. So, this tells that Rizal wanted to know about the progress of the Philippines before and after the Spaniards ruling. So, does really the Philippines already have this kind of government that they don't needed the help of Spaniards that time? Or the Philippines really need the help of Spaniards to create a more and innovative country that time? So, he studied the work of Dr. Margo and also has the urge to talk some illustrious Spaniards for evidences that the Philippines' progress is already there before the Spaniards came. He also quoted, "If the work serves to awaken in you a consciousness of our past and to bolt from your memory or to rectify what has been falsified or calumny, then I shall not have labored in vain." Here, he knows that the information that he have can change something. He can change the heart of the Filipinos that time to wake up in the long nap that they have been. And also, this leads to awakening patriotism and freedom. Let's go to Governor Magno. He is known in his creation of the Philippine history. But he is not the only first person who also create or write about the Philippine history. He is Father Quirino. His work is printed in Rome in 1604. It is more about chronicle of the missions, not all about the history of the Philippines. But still, it contains a great deal of valuable materials on usage and customs. But because of the work of Dr. Margo, he abandoned his writing about political history. Also, Rizal stated about Dr. Margo's work. By the Christian religion, Dr. Margo appears to mean the Roman Catholic, which by fire and sword he would preserve in its purity in the Philippines. That leads to the power of the church that time. We can see that the church really has that kind of power to lead Filipinos that time. And also, they have this kind of grip to the freedom that the Filipinos needed. Also, Rizal stated that nevertheless in other lands, notably in Flanders, these means were ineffective to keep the church unchanged or to maintain its supremacy or even to hold its subjects. Flanders is also known now as Belgium, that takes stand about the ineffectiveness of church in ruling, not only in politics but also in other subjects. Lastly, Rizal quoted about Morga's writing is a bit presumptuous. He said, "No one has a monopoly of true God, nor is there any nation or religion that can claim or at any rate prove that to it has been given the exclusive right to the Creator of all things or sole knowledge of His real being." Here, the civilization of the pre-Spanish Filipinos is regard to the duties of life. For that, age was well advanced, as the Morga history shows in its 18th chapter. That's all. Thank you.
To the continuation of Rizal's annotation to inspire young people of the day, it was said that, in Morga's history, the pre-Spanish Filipino civilization in terms of duty supply for that era was well advanced. According to Morga, the Asian Filipino had an army and navy with artillery and other military equipment. This is the Crises and the Campilan. They are primarily used by Muslim in Mindanao such as the Maranao, Maguindanao, Tausug, Yakan, and Sama. Asian Filipino also have their coats of mails and helmets, an example of which can be found in various European museums, demonstrate to their significant achievement in the industry. One of the native rulers in Manila is Raha Soliman or Raha Sulaiman, which he was called Rahang Mura or Young King in distinction from the old king, Rahang Matanda. He was one of the three Rahas who fought the Spanish Empire during the colonization of the Philippines in the 16th century. The artillery cast for the new stone fort in Manila, says Morga, was by the hand of an Asian Filipino. It was even said that before the arrival of the Spaniards, he knew how to cast a cannon. For that, he was called an ancient. From the earliest days, ships were built in the island. Philippines exported silk to Japan, which now comes the highest grade of the products. Morga's views upon the failure of Gobernador Padre de Acuña ambitious expedition against the Moros unhappily still apply for the same condition yet exists. The Malay Filipinos are said to have originated in the island of Sumatra, according to that legend. But due to the missionaries' enthusiasm in destroying all national remembrance, these traditions were almost completely destroyed. The Filipinos had minstrels who remembered songs recounting their ancestors' stories and actions attributed to their god. These were recited in terms with the rowing on long voyage, at festival, at funerals, and anywhere there were large gathering. It's such a shame that these chants haven't been preserved since they might have taught us a lot about the Filipino history and possibly about the history of nearby island.
we will now talk about Blumentrit's friendly critique to Rizal's annotation. So the importance of Rizal's annotation to Morga was that he tried to use history and historical events not just to express his personal views on the historiography, but to create a sense of national consciousness or identity. So historical revision is always met with varying degrees of opposition, and Rizal's first attempt at writing Philippine history was no exemption. So the Spaniards would always object. No, so Rizal was prepared for this. When the Morga was banned in the Philippines, Rizal wasn't surprised anymore. However, the first criticism of Rizal's historical work was not done by a Spaniard or one of his enemies, but it was done by Blumentrit. So Blumentrit was born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He was a teacher, lecturer, and author of articles and books on the Philippines. His works include translation of Rizal's first book, No Limitang Here, into German. He is well known among Filipino for his close relationship with Jose Rizal. So, in the introduction to the book itself, we can see the criticism of Blumentrit. So, often overlooked, this introduction contains observations which are hidden under a mountain of words. So, Blumentrit noted, for example, that Rizal's observation on the conduct of the European conquerors and civilizers are in general not new to the historian. The German especially discussed this theme. Nevertheless, Blumentrit continue with these new points of view give your notes an imperishable value, an undeniable value even for those dream of an inaccessible superiority of race or nationality. So the scholar will salute your erudite annotations with enthusiasm. The colonial politician, gratitude and respect. Through these lines run a flood of serious observation equally interesting and important to historians and ministers of overseas colonies alike. So, then he cites two defects of Rizal's scholarship which have been condemned, and rightly so, by later historians, a historical use of hindsight and a strong anti-clerical bias. So, Blumentrit, in his glowing introduction, did not forget to state that my great esteem for your notes does not impede me from confessing that more than once I have observed that you participate in the error of many modern historians who ensure the events of past according to the concept that correspond to contemporary ideas. So they should not be so. The historian should not impute to the men of 16th century the broad horizon of ideas that moves the 19th century. So the second point, which I do not agree, is some vented against Catholicism. So I believe that you cannot find the origin of numerous events regrettable for Spain and for the good name of the European race in religion, but in the hard behavior and abuses of many priests. So hindsight and anti-clericalism are fatal defects in a purely scholarly work, but as mentioned earlier, Rizal used history as a propaganda weapon against the abuses of the colonial Spaniards. Rizal's Morga should be seen and excused in this context. The problem with Rizal is his constant ambiguity. Like, is she trying to be a propagandist or a scholar? Hence, the Morga was deemed too historical, too scholarly for propagandists, while historians and scholars found the work too biased, too much work of propaganda to be taken seriously.